All right, well, let's get back to the QUACKCAST. Yeah.
Yeah. Physically messaged him.
Physically.
I
She
just can't
punches
read.
me in the face to message me, and I interpret it from the power of the knuckles. Hello and welcome to the QUACKCAST. This is QUACKCAST number 403. I'm Ozone Ocean, and with me is Bunny Baines. Hi, Bunny Baines.
Hello.
And Tans. Hello, Tans.
Hello.
And Pitt, who is on mute, who will be on mute for a lot of this QUACKCAST because she's not a strong character in this QUACKCAST. She's a bit more of a side character, but yeah, so that's how we're going to be. So we're talking about strong characters.
Strong. She's just a
bit player.
Yeah.
So we're talking about strong characters, which is Tance's news post for Saturday. So go and read that because it's pretty important. It'll just say do your homework. It'll take you up to speed with this QUACKCAST. And
should we read through it?
Yeah, we're
it
on
will
the.
be on the test, guys. Do your homework when you.
This is pretty much the advanced module here. So.
Yeah.
This is us.
I haven't had a chance to read it all, actually. So should we read through it or no?
Yeah. If it's really good.
Like out loud right now, I mean?
Isn't it long for that?
It's long for that, but we'll do a quick précis of it. But before we get into that, I've got to. I just keep on using that all the time.
I like that word. It's really good. I still got to look it up.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, before we do that, I've got to talk about the featured comic. Well, Kwai has to, so here's Kwai talking about the featured comic, which was featured comic Through the Window.
Hello, this is QUACKCAST, and the feature I've selected for this week is Through the Window by Andore Moldre, and it is rated E for everyone. This is a story about two squirrels, Chessie and Duke, and their domestic and wild antics. Watch as they go on adventures, searching for the world's biggest acorn, visiting movie theaters and making their own commentary, and avoiding getting hit by paper airplanes. One takes on a more serious approach to situations, and the other has a more playful side. Hopefully these woodland pals do not drive each other nuts. The art is drawn and painted digitally. The pages are in traditional comic strip format. Take a stroll down the wild side and read Through the Window by Andore Moldre, rated E.
Thank you very much for that. Kwai with Through the Window. Hey, that's so cool. All right, so next up we have the featured music from Gun Wallace. And this week I'm going to tell you about the featured music, Akea the Bounty Hunter. A blast of flame into the orange polluted skies over a desolate future world with no hope. This track conjures an ash-grey plain on a distant world as it carves an intricate, multi-layered soundscape. A hulking black city of glimmering glass and soaring steel towers rises over the horizon. Glittering windows reflecting the rays of an ancient sun. Take it away, Gun Wallace, with Akea, the Bounty Hunter. Thank you very much for that, Gumwallace. That was Akea the Bounty Hunter. Okay, so in this QUACKCAST, strong characters, male or female? Tans, do you think male characters can be strong? I don't know. I think they're toxic and too masculine.
We said we wouldn't say that word. That's
what you mean, toxic masculinity?
Because, as you know, I have this very annoying habit of wanting to be fair about everything. If we talk about toxic masculinity, we're going to have to talk about toxic femininity and then about toxic everything.
Don't you get that when you have like a problem with a town? No, that's something else.
No, that's what you get when you are on Twitter.
Oh, jeez. Yes. That's yeah. So let's not talk about that. That was a pure joke. So
toxic androgyny. Well, by the way, I thought of a
that was toxic humor from me. So.
Toxic humor. You know how like we sometimes like want, or some of us sometimes want to go into edgy topics, and some of us resist it.
Yeah.
I won't say who does what. I had this idea today about a way to talk about edgy topics, but I don't know if it's funny enough. I don't know if it's I can execute it in a funny way, but it was having a Japanese guy talk about edgy topics, so we could cover everything. But it would just be all gibberish, and then you just
wouldn't that be
reference.
Racist?
See, there you go. But it would be like, konbanwa, hi, watare desu no, it's cold outside.
Exactly, that's like.
これは what Kevin Hart on Twitter, easy, and then I don't know enough Japanese.
You have to end
it's going for it.
You have to end most of your phrases with something sounding gozaimasu, say, or something like it. Gozaimasu.
I lived in Japan. It was so long ago. Arigatou gozaimasu. Yeah. Yeah, that was it though. I had Kevin Hart Twitter. It's cold outside. Those are
baby. It's cold outside.
What else do we have? Gozaimasu. Watari George H.W. Bush did Trump Candy Michelle Obama. I don't. Hi, arigato gozaimasu.
Oh, gozaimasu.
That's the idea, anyway.
Oh, jeez.
So there you go. Now it's recorded. You can use it if you want. Probably not very well performed, but
it was very well performed.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah, that was genius.
We don't have to call Oz senpai. Pitt says.
Senpai. Oh, senpai.
And we'll have to periodically scream kawaii and Oz-chan. and call everyone's name and add chan in the end.
Tanzo-chan.
Yeah. Oh my God, no.
Pito-chan.
Except Oz has to be called Oz-sama because senpai.
Right.
And then I have to speak with the deep voice, like they always do when they're the senpai. Oh, arigato. Oh, worry.
Okay.
Right.
If there's a hot button issue, I'll do it every week if you guys want.
Oh shit.
You can have.
Don't hold me to that. I'm feeling that now. I might not want to do that, but yeah, go ahead.
When we record again and you use your bunny, you will have to, give him a bandana with The
Oh my
Japanese
God.
flag.
Oh,
is
the
like-
rising
That's
sun.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yes. I'll do it with the bunny. There's a Patreon extra. Controversial topics with a samurai bunny.
Samurai bunny, I love it.
Oh, it's freaking genius.
And we'll commit seppuku, Pitt says.
Oh yeah, what was that name?
Oh, this samurai rabbit? Wasn't it Usabi Yojimbo or
Yeah, you're
Wasabi.
right.
something Mojimbo? Yeah. I think that's named after a famous samurai. I don't know who. I know the bunny.
Oh, Yojimbo, yeah.
Yojimbo is like a famous... Yeah, it is a
Movie?
reference to something, right? I think I have him somewhere around here. I think I bought that little mug on eBay. I'm gonna
Yeah.
look while we're talking. I really do. I think I have him. Anyway, should we go back into the stuff?
We should. So we're talking about strong characters, which is Tance's news post. So Tance, give us a give us like
Quick recap.
yeah, a recap. That's it. Not to be wanky.
Or I'll just read the whole thing so everyone can get it. How's that? So we're not
No,
repeating what...
come on.
No? No, it's not that
Everyone
long.
will know that I ramble when I type. So
Okay.
Give us the cliff notes.
Yeah.
notes is well, I'll give the mindset I was in when I was slightly inebriated, I have to say, when I was writing this. So the idea was that I have seen lately that a lot of creative works focus a lot on creating strong characters, usually strong female characters, but also strong male characters. There have been, no matter what that would be defined as in terms of character traits. And they give them all these character traits and to the point that they become pretty much a stereotype of the times,
Yeah.
current times. And then when they have to act and interact and just carry the story forward, they don't, because they don't have the substance to support all the traits and behavioral patterns and stereotypes that they have been piled onto them, basically, without giving them some logical reason why they are the way they are, nor being faithful in terms of behavior on what they're supposed to be. So, for example, you make a lady general and or a lady captain, and she is supposed to be commanding troops, and she is clumsy. She is not assertive. She will giggle or go hee 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 in front of her men or women, whatever, in front of her troops and stuff. She will not be able to conduct herself as a general. She's just a general in name, which is, of course, very frustrating. And not only does that take away from her as a character, it also takes away from the weight and importance and seriousness that the audience takes the army that she's leading. Because, So in that sense, okay, that is not a strong character. It's a character that is meant to be strong, but isn't. So the whole news post was on, okay, if not that, then how? How do you create a strong female or a strong male character? And I wanted to focus on the fact that you have to give them the substance first and then build towards the elements that you want them to have. And also not shy away, not make taboo certain things that are part of human nature. Like when you have a woman, she is allowed to also not only, also do some womanly things. She is not going to be, allergic to them, like a vampire is to garlic or something like that. So,
Mhm.
or if she is, you have to explain why she is like that, so that she will be realistically believable, so that the audience will keep suspension of disbelief and will be able to actually follow the story and enjoy the story. And the same goes for men, because if you have like this super macho man that generally all he does is drive cars really fast and really unrealistically. Yeah, again, you're not gonna have a strong character. So that was the gist of the whole article that I wrote. I hope I haven't read it over, so my apologies.
You've got no idea what it's about.
This is what I think it was about. So, yeah.
That makes total sense. I was just thinking with your example, you just came up about a general, and I was thinking, that's like Pinky. But no, that is a lot like the characters in a lot of anime. Oh my god, that irritates me so much. I love anime. I watch it all the time. But I hate it when, you have like the general character, or like she or he is the boss of all these people, and it's the prettiest character, smallest, whatever. There's got to be a reason, make it more logical. It's just, I'm from a high class family and I'm just the strongest fighter, so I'm automatically, the leader of this group, and, that's how it is. That makes total sense. No, you can make like the prettiest, like, weird character be a logical leader if they're great at strategy and that kind of stuff. Like, say, the great series, Girls und Panzer, which is a fantastic anime about tanks. And they pick a girl as their leader because, like, she comes from a family of tank commanders that, had won a lot of like tank battles and stuff like that, and she's like pretty gifted, and they know, and they don't just make her the leader. They they say, we want you to be like part of our tank group. We want you, and she becomes the leader because she's really great at strategy and stuff like that. So that made it logical. So there was a reason for her to be the leader, and she came up with good strategies. So it really, really fit. Even though the anime is like totally weird and there's a lot of things that don't make logical sense, the fact that she became a leader did. So yeah, she was a good, strong character in that way. Well written. Whereas
exactly.
A lot of other animes will make, this particular character like, the boss person, and they just don't fit at all. There's no reason for it, and it is weak because of that. Because they have not been like properly reinforced to, carry all those traits that they're meant to have. So as you say, that is a good definition of a character who is not strong.
Yeah, it's if the character can sell their character sheet, basically, then you have a strong character. If they cannot, then you are writing them wrong, and you are basically just shoving in stuff because it's cool, or because for whatever reason you want to have them inside. Okay, that came out wrong. You want to have them be part of your character, but they are not part of your character, and they stick out like sore thumbs because you haven't sat down to think what it takes for a person to be what you want them to be. And also I have seen these things on, like, for example, God forbid a woman, as I said, a woman that also, she's a badass general, but she also likes to cook. What's the problem with that? I have seen that there is this taboo for women, strong women, quote unquote, to do the stuff that would be stereotypically or traditionally womanly, And for male characters, often, not so much, but often, to also be written as not doing the traditionally manly stuff, in order for them to be characterized as edgy or strong or whatever, progressive characters. And the idea is like, first of all, you are making the stereotype stronger if you do that, because then you are accepting that in order to make a female character strong, you have to break her stereotype, to break her out of the stuff that she traditionally does. So you accept indirectly that the stuff that she traditionally does is lesser or weaker or problematic.
That's a good point.
And not the context in which she does these things.
Yeah, there's like this idea that say like traditional female roles in history. Females have always had like a secondary role, and it was only like in the 20th century where suddenly females can get into leadership roles where women are coming to the fore and taking their power. But women all throughout that's a male centric view of history, and you're like, what you're doing is you're totally undermining the power and the history of women throughout history. And people do this when they create ahistorical characters in order to create like a stronger female character in history. So we'll have like really Maid Marian in Robin Hood was like really tough, and she was actually the leader of like a rebel band, and she was
she was Princess Leia.
But the reality is like people who were like chatelaines, or the chatelaine of a castle or something like that. There were female blacksmiths. There were all sorts of like strong females, and like even like a mother, the matriarch of a family was an incredibly powerful character. Just in that role, that wasn't a weak character, even though like in male-centric history that is written as being like, she was just the mother, or she was just the female of the house. That's because of that perspective. That doesn't mean that character was weak, and logically she couldn't have been because of what she had to do. So don't turn them all into like a carbon copy of a stereotype male character. Actually explore the things that really did make them tough and
exactly. And also, if you want, there have been actual women that broke the female stereotype for various reasons.
Real ones.
Real ones.
Not the made up ones.
But the point is, okay, you will make up characters and stuff, but just study these women. And first of all, their motivations. They didn't do it just for laughs or to make a point about feminism or whatever. They had very specific reasons why they went against the grain of society in order to do certain things. Yeah. And also see how they went about doing it. It's very interesting to see how a person chooses to go against the grain when they have to, when they decide that they have to, whatever that is. Yeah. But also there are women. For example, you talked about the matriarch. The matriarch was and still remains actually one of the most powerful characters you can have, and the most powerful positions. Often above often above the position of the patriarch in many substantial ways, if not all. Yeah. And I would like to give like an example of a real woman we had over here, and she's still legendary in many ways. She was the mother of a captain in the War of Independence. So we're talking 1820s. And she was the one that brought up the guy who is supposed to be, and he was very much a hero in every way. He was fearless, and all of that.
Yeah.
And There are two anecdotes about her. One is how she actually had to lead all the women with sickles to chase away Turks because they had done a pincer movement while the men were away fighting some other Turkish force. So she had to actually defend the town they were in, and she did it. And because the women didn't have any weapons, they took all the agricultural stuff that could cut, and they did it with that, which was even messier than normally. And that was one of the anecdote about her. And the second anecdote is that when her son was with his troop, he was the captain of the troop of basically rebels, and he was sitting at the courtyard of their house with them to talk strategy, and he had forgotten to report to her. So she came out all fury in front of his troops, and she told him off basically. And not only he, stood up and took it, all his troop members did. They had to all apologize to her that they didn't actually report to her, and she was the womanliest woman you could see. Like she had all the traditional stuff that you would expect of her time. She was very, very much following all the female stereotypical roles of the time. Yeah. That didn't stop her from gaining the respect and the actual power in the house. She had the punch in the house, or in a house full of heroes, full of heroes and very manly men. So that's what I'm talking about. There are ways that this happens in real life as well.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yes. So why, force an artificial version on us that, I mean, often these characters ring false, not because we have some sort of patriarchal kind of, inertia against it. It's because it's badly done. And it can be done so much better. These ahistorical characters they just fit so very badly. So do it well. Follow the examples of how the real ones have done it, and then you'll have a good character. If you want to do that kind of thing, they pave.
And when you get into the headspace of how these characters, these people, these actual people thought, then you can basically create any strong female, male, or neutral character that you may want to create. And also, please don't make them infallible. That's another thing. That in order to make us, yeah. Well, they may not be a Mary Sue in the sense that they may not, be omnipotent, but they will be infallible. Like, there is no way they were wrong in anything. That goes for men and women. In this, if they fall into these ruts, like if you have, like you have the woman that was right all along, and all the men were, going against her, and now she can basically rub all this on their faces that she was right all along. Or the guy, the hero, was correct all along. He knew everything in advance when it was impossible to know it, and he called it immediately, and everybody else is basically a jackass. So.
Yeah, those kind of characters are just irritating. You don't like them because they harp. The I told you so is not a good trait in anybody, let alone a character. So yeah, that's we don't. What's that?
No, I said that you can make a character, have the flaw, always saying "I told you so." But in order for them to be strong and annoying, but strong, you would have to also, give them the substance that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Well, that's why, like, Lisa Simpson is such a poor character for most of the Simpsons, although they did reform her, because, they were too concerned with trying to make her, like, good, and, like, as a kind of more worthy kind of character to Bart's just imbecility, and Homer, like her dad, is an imbecile, so she's like the smartest character in the whole family, which makes her a terrible character because we start to not sympathize with her anymore, and we love Homer because of his ridiculous failings, and it makes him lovable. But not so much because he was just a dick for most of it. He wasn't very
Now, in the same token, and that's in the writing, if you have on the other side, you have Matilda, who from Roald Dahl's book and the movie as well, where she is this little girl that is the smartest in her family. Everyone else is basically an idiot and a malevolent idiot at that. And she eventually she realizes that she has developed telepathy and stuff like that. But she's the most sympathetic character because the fact that she's the most clever isn't something that makes her act superior to everybody else. She actually feels very isolated and lonely and frustrated.
Yeah.
Like stranded on an island. So you sympathize with her.
Well, they do that with Lisa as well, in a way. It's like, oh, I'm intelligent, but it means people aren't my friend, and I'm not popular. But then again, you feel like she deserves it.
Yeah, just listening to that line made me think that right.
You're like, good. I'm glad.
Crawl into a sewer pipe and die.
Yeah. Go back to the ditch where you belong.
Exactly. No one likes a know-it-all.
No one likes a know-it-all that also advertises and lords it over as a know-it-all.
Right.
Yeah. You don't like a Mary Sue is a bad character because everybody loves them and they're infallible or whatever. But characters should not also have aspects of the Mary Sue. A character doesn't have to be totally Mary Sue to be sort of like have the negative connotations that a Mary Sue has. Like, if you're giving them like a lot of great things about them and a lot of people admiring, a lot of people acknowledging, they're fantastic in some ways. That's going to start to be just cloying and irritating. So yeah, just be careful of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think often if you actually dedicate story time into that sort of character worshipping, without at least weaving it into the story in a way that is central to the story as well. Like the fact that others always gawk at so and so is important to the story for whatever reason. If you do it just gratuitously, then you have basically put a giant red X mark on your character, and everyone wants to shoot.
Yeah, the target. But yeah, you're right. If there is a reason for it, like, oh my god, this person's so great, and then you find out it's like everybody's been paid to make this character feel like they're fantastic, like Jim Carrey in that movie. Yeah, the Truman Show sort of thing. Yeah, why am I the focus of the world? Yeah. Oh, that's because your whole world has been designed that way. So that's clever. So it can be done that way. Or maybe...
Or that Twilight Zone kid, kid from that Twilight Zone episode, right? Who had this, family, and like everyone adored the kid.
Yeah.
The whole town adored him in the Simpsons parody of that, where Bart was that kid. And then you find out why, like everyone's terrified of him because he's this powerful, some kind of god or something like that. And they're all acting this way so he doesn't, do horrible stuff to them.
That is clever, yeah. So there can be reasons for it. But yeah, if the character is naturally like really strong and just like picks up any skill, oh my god, that was incredible that you knew how to use that sword without any training. It was just like fantastic. So many anime characters like that. Yeah.
You just are hoping that the bad guy will actually run him through. Please kill him. Someone else will be able to kill you later.
Or it could be like that's their reality in their head. And they think, wow, I just used this sword. Wow, I'm so great. But then you find out that that's like a delusion. So they think they're fantastic. That.
So what about the characters in your webcomics, guys? What are your strongest characters, in your opinion?
Oh, my strongest characters are Pinky and Cece. Mainly Pinky. Oh, and like Betty and Colin in the latest series. Cece is not that strong because I have not written her to be that strong, unfortunately. So yeah, but Pinky and Colin and Betty, there's a lot that builds them up and makes them, like main characters, but also makes them all well-rounded and all this kind of stuff. What about you, Bean?
Let's see. I guess, to me, I think probably TK and Penelope are the strong characters. They kind of tend to drive stories forward, maybe. Or maybe I have it wrong. I don't know. As soon as you asked that, I was like, oh, I understand?
That makes total sense. They really are.
Actually... Oh, please go on. No, you go on.
Alright, so Pinky does have all the traits that I've, she's like a leader, and she's not a Mary Sue, because she has numerous, like, failings and things don't work out for her, as, they should if she was a Mary Sue. She doesn't naturally pick up all the talents, she has people actually to do that for her instead, which I think is a lot better, like you should always have in a story. Your character should not be the master of everything. That's why we have other characters to do that kind of stuff, like in reality. So, yeah, that's the thing with Pinky. Yeah, and she's a leader, but she's a leader because, that's her rank. And, you see her, like, at earlier stages in her leadership role, like, just as a lieutenant or whatever. And, she makes her way up the ranks. So, yeah, I consider Pinky a character who is, somewhat worthy of being a strong character. For those reasons. What about you, Baines? Like, Penelope is a super strong character, but that's because she's built like a house.
Yeah, she's physically strong. Wade is physically strong. I guess, I don't know, in this comic, I don't know if maybe it's more to do with point of view or something. Like the stronger characters maybe have a stronger point of view. So I'd probably put Abigail and TK. Penelope is kind of a kook, so I don't know, but she does drive action forward. TK drives action. Abby kind of does. Oscar Wade and Harley are less so.
They're more reactive.
Yeah, or just more kind of go with the flow. They don't often drive the action forward.
Yeah. Okay, that's true.
But still, they are pretty memorable in the sense that even if your character is if the character is reactive, the way they react also is important, and can project a strength of character. Let's say not. I mean that the point. If some character will be basically memorable, will not be able to blend with everybody else as easily, at least.
Right.
At least in my opinion. You can think of them and think of them as real people, that what would they do or why, oh my God, this situation will make him or her do this. No, that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, like they have a core. They have sort of like a point of view. They have like something that defines who they are. So yeah, when something happens, how will they react? And you'll be able to kind of figure it out. Yeah. Yeah, most of them are.
And it makes them well written. Yeah. That's just how it is. Well, that's a good explanation.
I mean, I would call Penelope more unpredictable, at least in some spheres. Like in some ways you kind of know what she's all about and stuff like that. She loves who she loves, and she's sweet, she cares about people and stuff, but she's very impulsive and kind of all over the place. I gotta do more pages. I'm talking about them and missing these characters. But all right. And Wade too loves to fight. Harley maybe is the weak. Like I don't totally know where Harley stands on issues. She's maybe the one who is the least defined, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I haven't thought about them in these terms exactly. So yeah.
In Bottomless Waitress, I would say like Polly is the strongest character.
Yeah.
Frances is more defined than she had been. She's had a chance to sort of grow into her role, which some of the other characters haven't. But yeah, at the moment, Polly is the strongest character by far.
Yeah, she's the one that is most fleshed out in her action reactions and the way that she generally conducts himself.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. That's. What about in Without
What
Moonlight?
about?
You have many strong characters in that one.
When I create, I didn't think of them as okay, now let's start making strong characters. But the idea was that I didn't want anyone in my cast to be someone that wasn't able to, in some way, affect the plot significantly. Whether they choose to or not is different, but I wanted them to be able to actually have an impact on the plot if and when they wished it. But I think one of the strongest characters that I have right now is Martha. I think that she's one of the strongest ones. Who also I think is more of a leader than Orestes is. Which doesn't mean that Orestes isn't very much a leading type, but I think that compared to each other, she has more value as a leader. Yeah, in the sense that she is more cold, has a colder approach to strategy than he does. She is in a position to check her emotions much more than he does.
And what he does is based on emotion and grudges and things like that. It's influenced.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
like if he is in a mindset that he's not thinking about, I hate him and I want to do this to that guy or that woman or whatever, then he's a very good strategist. But the point is that if he's pissed, all of that goes out to the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit,
yeah, and often Martha, that's why actually he had the presence of mind to appoint her as his second in command, which is I think shows that he knows how to evaluate people when he's not being, when his head is not up places that it shouldn't be. And that's why a lot of the slack is being picked up by her when he's, of being an idiot. So says that. I think that she is a good example of a strong female character. She knows how to cook, and also she can sew buttons and stuff. But she can also, make more ventilation into people very easily without issue.
All right. What about Brave Resistance? I think Nikos is probably the strongest character in that story.
Yeah, and the Hunter, I think they are good examples, both of them, because although they have completely different ways of grabbing attention and propelling the plot, they have completely different personalities, but they are both very, very strong in their own ways, and they also, and that's the other thing, you can have many strong characters in the same cast. You don't have to have just one to showcase them. And they learn to work off each other very well.
Yeah.
So, and as the story goes on, that will be more evident on, how it takes initiative and also counts on the other for certain things.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Without having to say, oh, you are good at this, now I'm counting on you. Blah, blah, boom. That's sort of...
It can be more symbiotic, and it's like, together they make a strong character rather than like together they make Voltron.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah.
But I also want to say, because strong characters, usually we tend to think that they are the main characters. In Brave Resistance, we haven't seen too many secondary characters yet. But, for example, Tula, who is a secondary character,
all right,
is also quite strong. Because she is the one that basically runs the support, and she is the one that everyone relies on to carry through with a lot of things. And she is not in the spotlight because she is basically the vanguard, the vanguard is in front, the
rear guard.
Yes, thank you, the rear guard. She is the rear guard, but she is that, and the way that the other characters react to her and with her, like the way that, for example, Nikos tries to rebuff her and stuff. She knows that, and she throws it out of the window because she doesn't care about that. She has her own very much assertive but personal way of doing things and earning respect of the other characters. So she is a secondary character. She's meant to be a secondary character, but she could tell the story from her own point of view if that was the creative choice.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I don't know if I could do that with other Pinky TA characters. Well, I could do that with Betty and Colin.
Mm-hmm.
But not Cece, because although she is like meant to be a kind of foil to Pinky, realistically so far in the story she hasn't been. And we see the story from her point of view very briefly in one of the chapters, chapter 5. So I did sort of toy with that. Yeah, but I admit that she is not that strong a character. Yeah. In that sense. Well, that's interesting. I want to talk to Pit about the strength of her characters, but poor old Pitsy has got a busy house at the moment as crazy things are happening. Well, all right. Well, we better wrap it up because suddenly the tiredness is like catching up with me, and I'm not going to be much good on the rest of the QUACKCAST.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you, people, for being here, and Baines, and especially Tance, who came up with the whole topic and
brought her own soapbox as well. So
well, you carried the QUACKCAST as well as your soapbox. So
yeah, I'm a strong female kind. That's why.
You are. All right. Goodbye, people. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.